Hi, I'm Lola, and today I'm going to be making a video on making a baby blanket on this antique loom that I found in just a few days. So today's Friday, and this is a gift for a baby who's getting blessed on Sunday. So yes, I am a little crazy, and yes, I don't know exactly how to use this loom. I have experience on a rigid heddle loom, but not on this apparatus. I think it's a counterbalance table loom. However, I am not an expert on it, so I am learning as I'm going. So I'm going to use this beautiful white yarn as the warp. I'm going to use this fun colored one as the weft. So first off, I measured out how long I wanted the warp to be, and I had a warping peg set up here, clamped onto the railing, and I was walking back and forth threading it onto the front beam. I know it's kind of weird, but bear with me. The warp is the lengthwise portion of the fabric, and later the weft is going to be woven up under and over these warp threads. Here I'm cutting it so I can wind it onto this front beam, winding it on. And then here I was pulling it through the individual reeds, and I got really excited because I could see it working, making the space in between the warps where I can take my shuttle with my weft threads, and then I can bring it back and forth. Now I just had to do that a lot of times. And I alternated. So I pull two threads from the beam, and I thread one through the front little raised, goodness. I just alternate which set of reeds I put them on. And here I am starting to realize I done messed up, because the warp is going underneath this top beam here, and it wouldn't quite work to do the weaving through there, so it wasn't working. Here I'm cutting the warp threads again so I can tie them on, thinking it's a tension issue, which it isn't, but it will help with the tension as well. So I tie it on, still getting no shed action, which is what I need to make it work. Here I am realizing, hey, this is probably what it's supposed to do. I have to undo all those knots I just did. Retie them on. Looks nice. I'm getting some shed, but not there. Alright, so I've started to weave, and there have been a couple of hiccups. But when I turn this, I can get a wonderful shed right here. But when I do the opposite direction, nothing. I'm wondering if it has to do that I put two threads through each slot here, and that the wool that I chose is clinging to each other, so it doesn't like it. I have enough slots here that I can put one thread per slot. However, that means I would need to backtrack and undo all of this, undo this, and just start over almost. So I'm gonna go eat some lunch and then come back. I'm doing all my hard work yet again. I'm using my thread threading hook to pull through, I believe it's every other thread, through a slot in this, on these metal slats here in the beater. Then I realized I needed to adjust it, so I'm redoing it again. Of course, if you can't tell, that's a theme throughout this whole project. And that was only half. Now I have to do the other half of the warp threads. Now I finally get to start tying on again. Gotta make sure that tension is right. Over again, and I think I found the issue is that back here almost all of these two threads next to each other cross, except for where I was rethreading over here. They cross each other, and so where I did rethread this one section right here and undid those little crosses, it works, and it isn't perfect, but it works. So it looks like I'm going to have to rethread the whole thing one more time. Rethreading again. Then finally, it works, and I can start weaving. Here I'm using what's called a goat shuttle that has a bobbin in the middle. I'm just passing it back and forth. It isn't quite right for this loom, I don't think, but I was determined to make it work, and it was working okay enough. And then I'm advancing the warp a little bit so I can keep going, and all the fabric that's being made is getting wound onto this front beam here. This was probably my favorite part because I got to see it all come together. And then when I run out of yarn on the bobbin, this is what I would do. So I'd leave a little tail somewhere in the piece, and then I would kind of backtrack a little bit and take the thread from the next bobbin and go backwards with it until it overlapped that last little nub there. And this leaves a couple of threads to trim later, but then they can get meshed into the piece as I go. And then I can keep going. And when I finally reached the end of the warp, I just took some of the extra yarn and did a quick kind of whip stitch along the edge to help hold it together. It comes off of the loom. exciting and scary part comes next. Actually cutting it off of the loom. And my second favorite part is pulling it off of the loom after it's done. Then I get to see how it turned out. And then I didn't want to go through the whole threading process again of threading the loom and dressing it, so I took the piece of cloth that I'd made, cut it in half, and then decided to stitch them together at one of the side seams. And with the way that the fabric was behaving, I decided it was best to hem it by hand. Then I stitched the sides together very carefully. More hemming. Woohoo! Snipping off all the little tails everywhere. Then I decided it would look really cute with a crocheted border on it. And I used some yarn that I'd spun myself, that's faux Angora bunny, in case you were wondering. I kind of made up the stitches as I went, got an order down and repeated it till I got to the end. Next up, I pressed it, added a little bit of water, and put a pressing cloth over top of it to help protect it just in case. And here you go, the reveal. Okay, so it's been a while since I filmed all of this, and I think it turned out really cute. It's very soft and made a wonderful gift, though it certainly hurt my brain, and I had to redo a lot of it, the rethreading and all of that, several times, which wasn't as fun, but it was all learning. And one thing that I thought was really funny was that as I was weaving all this, I kept trying the different shuttles that I had, going, oh, maybe this one will work, maybe this one will work. It doesn't quite work right. I had a shuttle that came with the little loom that I forgot I had. So, yay. But it turned out just fine, and hopefully the baby likes it too. Thanks for watching, and if you feel like sticking around, love to have your company. Bye. Why is this so weird. I mean, just talking to the camera, it's not a big deal, right? Train and thunder. Yay. The camera. Ah.